It's could be worse. We did it. Wait, are you all in? Are we in scene? Okay, good. Yeah. We're live. We did it. We got a few people here. So hi everybody. Thanks for joining us on such impromptu, short notice. We haven't even. Can people hear us? That's the question. Let me make sure they can hear us. Audio in the background is going to be. Where's my crisp? I just realized people may not be able to hear. Crisp. Okay, wait for it. There it is. There you go. Go away. Okay. Can you all hear me now? Yeah, that's good. Have you heard of Crisp?
I'm using it already.
It's so good.
I mean,
it's so good.
I know, because it helped me a lot. When I was in India, I
Yeah.
recorded my entire course. I could record it because of Crisp.
Yeah, every room is a sound room,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. You turn on your fan, you have a lot of noise, right? And then and of course you always have someone like shouting around your house.
Not to mention road noise. I live in a city. I live in San Francisco. There's always traffic out my window. I live on the 12th floor.
Oh my god!
And I can still hear beep and people trying to get on the highway and
I know.
Anyway. Yeah, we're good. I'm joined today by my new friend Santosh Yadav.
Yeah,
I'm sorry if I butchered your last name.
I don't know. It was perfect.
Or your first name.
It was perfect.
The first one I had a little practice with, but the last one, I don't know that I've ever said it out loud. We've been talking for about a month now, on and off, and I'm just so happy that we got to finally be in the same space and place. Just pure coincidence, by the by. What do you like? What do you? Can you tell us? Are you? I'm in Athens, Greece. Hello from Bangladesh. Hello.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Small world. Hello. Bio. That's another name I might have butchered. See, I don't know. We have such nice people. Hello, Kunal.
Hey,
Good to see you. Yeah, like good stuff. So I don't know. Hi. Look at that.
So many people joining. Hey, Akash.
Yeah. Hello, Akash. Good to see you. So, okay, I'm in Athens for Devoxx Greece, which is fabulous. It ended today. Today is the last day, which is a bummer. And you're here for some other reason, or just vacay, or what?
One of my friend actually invited me for Angular Athens.
Nice.
They had a meetup, and one of the speaker for Devoxx, actually Minko, who was also speaking at the same meetup. So
Minko,
Minko Getchev.
He's from San Francisco. Where is he?
I know. He was in Bulgaria.
I know.
Actually, he's from Bulgaria.
But he lived in San Francisco.
He was here on? I think he had his talk on first day.
And did he leave?
I think he might have left already.
He's a friend. I've actually hung out with him in SF. Does he still live in it? He's probably still in it. I haven't talked to him in person since before the pandemic.
He's still. I think he left. He might have already left.
I mean, but did he leave San Francisco?
No.
Oh, yeah.
He might have left, like, he went back to San Francisco probably.
No, that's so sad.
He was probably traveling to some other conference, but I'm not sure.
Oh, that's so like, yeah. Yeah, that's okay. Well, anyway,
So he invited me. Then I thought of like having a vacation because I was feeling a little bit burnout.
Oh yeah, it happens.
So I thought let's why not to have a like good vacation.
Right.
I was able to get.
And then here I am like dragging you back to work on a weekend.
It's absolutely fine. I'm relaxed now. I have recovered.
It's hard to be stressed out in Athens, right? It's
of course.
Look at this weather. I mean, people can't see it because we're not showing them, but
it's very nice weather today.
What is hi Vinit? What is bow?
How means brother.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hey Vinit, hi.
That's very. Oh wait, I took it way too fast. What do you do this? Do you highlight the nice things that people say? And then my problem is I don't know how long to leave it there, because I'm scared if I we're using StreamYard. It lets you focus people's attention. For people who are listening. This is going to be turned into a podcast, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So
So anyway, somebody said BHAU, which means brother.
It's so I'm from Mumbai.
Okay.
So in Mumbai, we have a language called Marathi.
Marathi. Wow.
So I mean, of course, I know a little bit. I mean, I don't speak Marathi, but I understand. My wife speaks really well.
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm so jealous. I can only.
There are so many languages.
I know. I love it. And so many delicious foods that are not the same in places.
Yeah, that's true.
every time I go to India, I bring my stretchy pants because I get so much fatter and happier. I love India. Okay, so you're joining me today. You and I don't have all that much in common, save for the fact that we're both Google developer experts, right? And I don't know what that means, but so far so good, right? And it's a GDE. You might have seen a lot of people with that GDE in their title, and I think it just means that they like us talking about their stuff.
Yeah,
that's what. Yeah, like you work on you're a GDE for Angular,
Yeah.
which is not the same as Kotlin. I'm a
Yeah.
GDE for Kotlin.
Yeah.
Kotlin's not even Google. Like it's not even
their.
it's not their technology. It's a thing that it's just an open source effort by JetBrains and others, and Google's a major contributor to it, right? But it's just wonderful that they have this community support. Come to Pune, Maharashtra.
Kunal.
Oh yeah.
I lived in Pune for 6 years before coming here.
Oh, you made a mistake.
Ah.
You should have stayed where the good food is. Now you're in Germany?
Now I'm in Germany.
Oh.
Of course. I mean, it's okay. My wife cooks really nice.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah, you can eat it at home. But that's like Germany has many amazing things. Food is not
one of them.
not the top thing I would recommend about Germany. No. And I come from America. Like we don't have local like there's no such thing as really good American food, right? All we can do is take other people and their food and add more fried sugar to it, and it becomes delicious, even more delicious. Yes, thanks, Vineet. Yeah, the comment says, thanks, Josh, for visiting India recently in Bangalore. Hope you had fun. Saw your biryani. Hope you can travel I would love to travel the entire country. I've only visited a few cities. I went to not this year. I only was in Bangalore this year, but I've been to Bangalore, Goa, Mysore, New Delhi, Bombay, Hyderabad. I guess maybe there's one or two more, but basically Pune. I've been to Pune. That was years ago. I was there once in 2010 or 11. So yeah, I've seen nothing. The smallest fraction.
You still have visited more cities than me.
No, that's not true. But you must have. No, and plus I was only there for a few days at a time, right? You definitely. I wish I could have visited more. Actually, I spent 3 months in 2012 in India.
Oh, thanks.
3 months, not in one visit, but over the year. It was just I love India, man. Every time I go, I'm happier. And now I'm hungry. I'm in Greece. We have good food here too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, you're a Angular GDE. And people who know me on the stream know I'm not really all that great at the front end stuff. I'm very happy to concede that. You're from Mysore but living in Bangalore. I love both of those places. I have the silk from Mysore. I have a big, goofy, wonderful shirt that my girlfriend hates, but I love. It's from Mysore. It's made of that nice silk. It's not like silk. What is it? It's I think it's silk, right? It's this very nice fabric.
Mysore is known for silk.
Yeah, silk, right? So that was a lot of fun, and the fountains and just amazing. Okay, so anyway, I'm reading comments for people who are listening on the podcast, by the way. So I'm not really much of a front end human being. I'm not smart enough to do it. I've tried, and I think I got easier with TypeScript. TypeScript makes me feel a little bit more confident that the thing I'm gonna get is a well-defined, predictable behavior. I loved Angular 1. That's the one I used a lot of. I never bothered with React. I think I've done 10 lines or whatever. I even took a course, but I felt like I was gonna get into a lot of trouble with it, and I just wanted something like Angular, right? I liked Angular a lot, and I like Angular, and then I tried Vue, and it's fine. I like Vue a lot. I like Angular. I like the Angular 1 and 2 even. I tried 2. They're both nice, really nice technologies, but I haven't kept up because it's just not my forte. And I showed you my website, joshlong.com.
It is good. I mean, if you want to actually take a reference, see the Josh website.
You can comment on Twitch finally. Why can't people comment on Twitch?
But you can from a long time. I mean, probably his account.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's good. Welcome. Hi.
Hmm.
It's like so. So anyway, so okay, so we're here. I guess I wanted to talk to you, somebody who knows about this space, about all the new stuff, because I just haven't been paying a lot of attention. And I liked Angular, and I liked Angular too. But you just told me something that blew my mind. Couple things. First of all, before we even got in the stream, you taught me something that I did not know, because again, I'm not so smart, which is that the what I would call the @ sign is actually called the @rate
At the rate, yeah.
symbol
Yeah.
in India. And I imagine it must be called that elsewhere. Maybe it's even called that in the States. I don't know. I just never heard it before. So if you've heard that before,
I think many Indians in India, we actually learned it in school
yeah.
that it's a at the rate sign. So
Well, you said it so fast. At the rate.
yeah.
At the rate, but it's at the rate.
Rate, yeah.
And so what do they? I guess it's at the rate of something, right? The speed. He's traveling at 50 miles an hour or something, or at the rate of speed 50 miles an hour.
Who cares? You just know it's at the rate.
Oh, wait, after you follow,
You have to wait 1 month.
or before you get to comment, is that true? Is there a Twitch setting? Okay, I will look into that immediately. Set reminder to look into Twitch settings for follow in 1 hour. Okay,
Okay, I added it.
thank you. So at the rate. Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing is you just told me another thing that blew my mind, which is that Angular is now at already version 16.
Yep.
So are they releasing new versions every week, or like what's going on?
No. So Angular has a major release every 6 months. So it's
Oh, okay, that's like Spring Boot. Well, not major, but we have a new release every 6 months.
Yeah. So like it's on the docs pages as well. So
Right.
they mention that when there will be next release. I mean, dates can like change,
Yeah.
but mostly they have like 6 months release cycle, and then they will mention, okay, this on this date it got released, and then there is a because it with release there is a cycle, right? I mean, after 18 months it becomes a stable long-term support version. So
I see.
they will not probably they have stopped supporting Angular 13 now.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, but 16 is okay.
16 is the latest release, so now probably they are supporting Angular 14. So if you have any
Wait,
bug fixes,
you're saying that every release, 18 months hence, becomes a stable release.
exactly, yeah.
Oh, that's different from
So-
Java. In the Java world, like Java 21 is coming out later this year,
Mhm.
every 6 months. That will be a long-term supported release for the next 3 years. But Java 22 will not. It's only supported for 6 months, no matter what.
Okay.
You have to wait
Mhm.
until 3 years or 2 years later.
Uh-huh.
So the next release, every 6 months, they release a new one. And the release that comes out in 2 years and a few months, that'll be in the long-term supported
Long
again.
support, yeah.
But not every release in between does not get promoted to long-term.
It's,
amazing.
yeah, for Angular it's like that because Angular focuses on backward compatibility.
Right.
So if you have a code base like Angular 15, Angular 13, 14,
Right.
they are still supported. So it's not like, I mean, they will die, right? I mean,
Right.
there are still many applications who are on Angular 8,
Wow.
and
but-
you can easily migrate. So
Right.
Angular has something called ng update command,
right.
and they have a website called update.angular.io,
Oh,
where actually you can select the version from which you want to migrate
right.
and to where you want to migrate. Generally, we suggest like people migrating from one major version. For example, right now, if we go to a website update.angular.io,
Right.
you will see a drop down. So don't try to migrate between like 8 to 16. Go to
Right.
8 to 9,
Right.
9 to 10, 10 to 11. So you have like a better history that, okay, what has changed between two versions.
Oh, you can do a git commit each
Yeah,
time
exactly.
and then roll back if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. And if it doesn't work, you know, so quickly, right? I mean, what is not working.
And is it so it's pretty straightforward to upgrade between each release?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I have been upgrading some of the libraries at our workplace, which is like Angular 11
Right.
to 13, and it took me like probably 30 minutes. So within 30 minutes, my migration was done, and then
Well, you're done. Oh, that's nice. Java, Java has a pretty good backwards compatibility story, but we don't do. That's cool. We don't even do that. That's
and
like-
you don't have to do it manually. That's the
No.
cool stuff,
Yeah.
right? You have to just say ng update, and that's it.
well. So I wonder how that works. How do they do the transformations on the code base?
So they have something known as schematics.
Okay.
So in general language, you can call it generators. So
Yeah.
they have generators, which the ng update command will run
Right.
on your code base, and it will figure out, okay, if this is something which is like deprecated or this is something which is migrated
Right.
to new APIs, they will do the migration for you,
Wow.
and that's it. And they also upgrade the versions, so they will also update your package.json where all the versions
Right.
are defined.
But how do they update what is the code transformation?
So
Engine.
of course they are using TypeScript AST.
Oh, okay, okay.
So-
So they can reify the
So they built, so
uh,
they did something amazing. So rather than actually just directly using AST,
right,
what they did is they wrote some APIs. They call it as schematics,
right,
which you can also do. So let's say if you have a library, which like you are one of the library which is used by many organization,
right.
and you want to make sure that your users can also do the same, you can actually write your own schematics, like your own
Wow.
update schematics,
That's pretty cool.
and then so anyone can run it, and then they are migrated to the new version, and without changing any line of code.
That's so cool. So they can read the code in,
Yeah.
update with the schematics,
Yeah, exactly.
and then write it out to the file
Yeah,
until you get the changed code base. Yep, too easy, too
Yeah.
easy. See, this is really good because I mean, Angular took a little bit of flack years ago, half a decade ago or whatever, for
14, 15.
14, 15.
Yeah, 2014 and around.
Oh yeah, it was 8 years
2015,
ago. Yeah, from 1 to 2. That was the big one.
Yeah,
That's like our Java 8, right? Java 8 broke a few things. No,
okay.
sorry, Java 9 and versus 8. We had 8, which was a huge release. People loved it. It's like our Python 2, right?
Okay.
And then we did Java 9, and then Java 9, they redid everything inside they redid the packaging of the JVM.
Okay.
And in theory, a few libraries that people were using, or APIs that people were using that they should not have been using, became walled off, right?
I can understand.
Actually, it didn't even get walled off originally. It was just errors on the command line when you did it, right?
Yeah.
And then so exactly, it was a problem. But once you move to 9, it wasn't that big a deal. And if you're using Spring Boot, for example, like if you just upgrade to Spring Boot, it already provided the missing library, so it would just work correctly in Java 9. So Java 9 to whatever 21 is basically without pain, right? And Java 1 to 8 was basically without pain. It's just that one little moment in time, and whatever. Okay, so we got some good comments here. For well, first of all, we're going to talk about this. I don't want to get too far ahead of the story, but let's talk about version 16 of Angular, because brand new. It just got released apparently, right? So new features, and our friend Simon here just says he wants to signal that he loves the required input changes in V16 and the nice compiler improvements. What does that mean? What is he talking about?
So in Angular, right? So you generally what you do in front end, you create components, right? So you create smaller components and which can exchange data if required.
Right.
So in case I want to pass the data down to my child components,
Right.
so I can use something known as input.
Right.
It's actually you can say a function. So it's an input function which accepts the input. Right. So earlier there was no way to make it required. So if I have, I mean, I can either like write my own logic saying, okay, if this is not required, fail it. But it was like too late, right? I mean, it was at the runtime.
I see.
But there was nothing like so
as you're typing it.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to do like a property change event or something.
So let's take it this way, right? So if I don't provide these inputs from my parent component, it will never complain about it.
So the component itself won't complain about it?
Yeah. So the parent component is not sending the data back to the child component, because it's of course everything is optional. You can choose whether you want to provide this property or you don't want to. So let's say if you create a div, right? You use a div tag, and there are some properties with div, and you can choose whether you want to provide it or not, but they will never complain. So it was
just, at worst, it would show up as like console.log or something.
Not console.log. Let's say div has something, let's say width and height, right? Let's take the example.
Okay.
So they're optional by default, right? I mean, if I don't provide it, it's okay. It will still work.
Right.
So in Angular, it's the same way. If you have properties, if I don't provide it, it will never complain about it.
Right.
Now it can actually give you a compile time error when you compile it, that okay, this property is required and you should pass it.
Wow.
So that
compile time.
Yeah, it became a compile time error earlier, which was a run. I mean, it is something which you can handle at runtime previously.
I see.
Now so it's not.
So okay, so it's not even about like you'll get a validation error at runtime.
Yeah,
it's a compile time.
Yeah.
You can't even start the program.
Yeah,
I like that. Which gets us to another point. You're talking about TypeScript.
Yes.
This is a compiler.
This is a compiler.
Right.
So Angular has its own compiler.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Smart. What is that? So is that what he's talking about there when he talks about the compiler improvements?
So compiler improvements. So they are bringing ES Build now as part of the compiler.
What is ES Build?
ES Build is a build tool. So it was actually created by Ivan Wu, the Vue.js creator.
Yeah.
So Angular is bringing this. Earlier we used to have Webpack.
Right.
So they are now trying to replace the Webpack with ES Build because they had like discussion with different build tools. They are trying to figure out. I mean, as Angular believes in like as time progresses, I think we should revisit our dependencies as well.
Sure.
So the team figured out that now Webpack has become a bottleneck for performance improvements.
Really? Okay.
And then they decided to move to other tools. So they like, of course, they went to the market and see, okay, this is good, but which one to use?
So Webpack is the general like, because I mean you mentioned a compiler, but there's a whole bunch of things like if you want to like minify and pack archives and all that stuff is handled by that. There's a bunch of others though too, right? Like in the market.
I mean, you have ES Build, you have Vite, you have TurboPack.
Yeah.
You have now RS Pack. So there are some.
So which one is the clear leader today? You know, which
right now it's Vite.
Vite?
So, Vite.
How do you spell it?
Vite.
Vite. Okay.
Yeah. So
like fast in French.
It's actually created by the same team. I mean, so it was created by Ivan Wu again.
Wow.
So and they are using some of the APIs provided by ES Build. So they play very nicely together.
Right.
But now Vite has become like one of the dominated tool in the market right now. So everyone is now trying to use Vite.
And so if you generate if you do like ng whatever create, it'll just automatically set up that build with Vite for you now?
No, right now. So Angular is not using Vite. We are using ES Build, and that's also it's like I think I'm not sure if it's still stable. It's like the Angular team is trying to actually figure out what are the of course we are trying to move from Webpack to ES Build, right? So Angular wants to give a great experience. So in future you should be able to replace your Webpack with ES Build without changing even a single line of code.
Wait, so you're moving from Webpack to ES Build, but the thing that everybody's using is Vite?
The others, like now Vue uses Vite, React users also using Vite.
So why not Angular?
So that's a complicated thing. So Angular team tried to actually figure out which is the best tool for us as of now.
Right.
Because Angular already has its own compiler. So if you see, Angular doesn't like pass the entire code to ES Build directly. So they have like on top of that their own compiler called Angular compiler, NGC. And NGC does few things before it actually gives the output back to the build tool. And it was not fitting into the picture. So the Vite was actually probably in future, maybe, I'm not sure. I mean, but like it's a big change, right? I mean, in case you have your own compiler, if you build some new tool, it becomes the part of the compiler.
Right.
The Angular team just don't wanted to bring something which they can bring and then struggle with it.
Right, I see.
So they actually invested some time studying ES Build. They figured out, Webpack, ES Build, we can actually bridge the gap.
Right.
And then we can just give a smooth migration. So people who
see, this is that focus on easy migrations. I like that. That's amazing. So and sometimes people have to choose a technology that isn't the most popular, but it guarantees the smoothest ride,
exactly.
Which is completely respectable. I like that. Very good. Okay, so what is the improvements to the compiler then that he mentioned?
So there are a few things, right? I mean, we are building, we are making ES Build as part of the compiler, and then for build, now for build they are going to use Vite. I mean, for local build. So once you let's say do ng serve, right, or npm start or whatever.
Right.
So once it runs on your local machine, there is something which is for some part they're using Vite.
Cool.
So earlier, if you like serve an application, Angular server, do ng serve or npm start, it used to take some time. Now it will be really fast.
That's what Vite means.
Yeah,
fast and
fast.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So that's cool. Let me see what people here are saying. Somebody is asking, is there a tool to move to Java 16 or 17? I hope you mean all those Jakarta and Javax upgrades. There is open rewrite. Absolutely. We did an episode. I had an episode here with my buddy Don Schneider back in I think January. So go watch the video. Go watch this YouTube channel. John talks about open rewrite. Absolutely. he's one of the people that works on it. He's got a company around that. Good stuff. Somebody here, a bunch of people chiming in here. Webpack is ancient technology as compared to the newer frameworks. Very good. I got some Veet love in the house. Veet rocks. Good. Veet, heart for Veet. Yeah. Hello from Athens. Somebody's in the same city as us. Hello from Athens. Being in Devoxx this morning. Awesome lecture. Thank you. I'm glad you came, and thanks for. I'm glad you got something out of it. Yeah, that's great. Let me see. Veet has saved a lot of my time. It's gonna save a lot of my time too. Darn it! I can't wait, especially since it's got a French name, and I feel like I'm part of the joke now. I get it. I'm in.
I just want to make one thing clear that
Yes.
of course Webpack is not an ancient technology. I mean, it was something which was needed at that time. I mean, we had few options when Webpack came in, and Webpack had like a strong ecosystem of plugins which you can play with. And now the problem is, of course, they are a little bit slow because most of the tools, if you see, are actually moving on to Rust, right? So they have
onto Rust, the language.
So they are actually writing their own tool using Rust. So if you see the new what you can so there is something known as RS Pack, which is like Webpack plus Rust. So they are writing it in Rust, and then there is a Turbo Pack, which is again I think some Rust or some other technology.
Wait, but okay, so you're saying that so you're saying that Webpack was written in JavaScript before? Is that the idea? What was it written in?
Webpack is JavaScript, of course.
But now you're moving to.
So now a lot of tools are actually moving to Rust. They have started writing it in Rust.
The tools that are being used by Webpack, like the compiler and things like this.
So Webpack was entirely JavaScript.
Okay.
And now the people are actually compiling down JavaScript using Rust. So they're writing their own compiler in Rust.
To compile it into what?
The JavaScript code. So if you see the build tools, what they do, they take your JavaScript code, they compile it down, like they created the minified bundle and all those things, and they on top of it you can do a few things.
Wow.
Right? You can resolve the dependency. You can see how to split your code. There should be, if there is a lazy loading, they should be split it into multiple chunks. All those things. So that's what the generally build tools do.
I see.
So they're trying to actually write everything into, another language is not something which means fast. Of course, that might differ, but I think Webpack probably is doing a lot of things which is slowing it down. And now, of course, ES Build is like one of the fastest, if I'm not wrong.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. So I never even thought about that. That makes a lot of sense, though. In the Java community, obviously, we have our the Java compiler.
Yeah.
A lot of which is written in C, so we don't even normally think about it. And obviously, it could be faster, Goodness, and Rust, I'm sure it was.
Someone writes in Rust.
Yeah. So obviously, okay, that's great. Good stuff. I can't wait to try it out. Okay, so new features in Angular. Do you have anything you want to? Simon has some things we should talk about here as well. Partial hydration and standalone components. What else? Let's talk about that and whatever else you think we should know about.
The main, or you can say the new shiny feature in Angular 16, which people have been talking about, is called signals.
Okay, what is this signals?
So signal is something which will bring all this new change section optimization to the framework.
Instruction optimization?
Change detection.
Okay, so for like property binding and stuff like that?
Exactly. So once you actually do some data manipulation, if you change some data, it's a front end, right? At the end, it's HTML.
Right. Okay.
So what happens when you change data? It has to re-render something, right? It's a DOM.
Is it one of those virtual DOMs, or
you can call it? Some people, for example, React uses VDOM, so virtual DOM.
Is it basically the same idea? You've got a Shadow DOM or something like that?
I don't know. Shadow DOM is something else. Okay. Shadow DOM is something related to CSS. When you do CSS binding, how the CSS should be binding, that's Shadow DOM. But at the end, everything is DOM, right? At the DOM, it's a DOM element which has to be re-rendered.
Right.
And frameworks do it in a different ways. So Angular has its own compiler. Angular do it in a different way.
Wow. Okay.
But the way Angular used to do it is, for example, if you have like large component tree, what I mean is, like, of course, once you create a website, you will have
lots of little components
and then their relationship, right?
Right.
Yeah. So once you like change something at the end of the component, end of the tree,
right,
it has to go back because there is something called as zone.js. There is the library. So Angular uses zone.js to figure out, okay, if something has changed, then I have to re-render the tree.
Oh, but it wants to isolate the changes to a particular region to save on having to
that was not possible, right? You can do that. You can do that, but not by default.
Okay.
So you can turn on that optimization, but you have to make sure you like the way you are writing code, you have to also change that.
I see.
So it was like, of course, not easy stuff to teach to a new developer.
Right.
Who's
I'm
coming to
confused just thinking about it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
But of course, I'm always
complicated.
confused. Okay. Yeah.
So for a longer period of time, there was a talk that we should remove zone.js because once my application grows, zone.js becomes a bottleneck.
Right.
But actually, zone.js was not a bottleneck. It was the way change detection is actually happening.
I see.
For large application, the change detection in Angular is fast.
Right.
Believe me, if you have like medium-sized application, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I'm talking about enterprise application where you have 100K lines of code. And so the Angular team was figuring out, okay, how to do it. And then there was a lot of talk about signals in the JavaScript community. So Ryan Carniato, who is creator of Solid.js, he was talking about Solid for a long time because he had implemented something similar in in Solid.js, which is another framework. And then he did, I think, he also like worked in one other framework, which was again where he was using Solid.
Right.
So Angular team consulted with him, of course, as well to see if we can bring the signals into Angular. Now let's talk about the advantage, what it brings, right? I mean, of course, it's, as I said, Angular always thinks about the backward compatibility.
Right.
So with signals, what will happen is your application, the new code you can actually write using another approach where you don't have to think about all this change direction strategies and like having an extra optimization to turn this optimization on, right? Or having to write code in a different way to turn these optimizations on. So the signals, what they can do is they can do what you can say the granular level change detection.
Wow.
So if I'm talking about component A and B, and something changes between them, they are re-rendered.
Only those two things, not
things.
the whole graph.
Not the whole.
Oh, that is super cool.
Yeah. So that's what Signal is going to bring. And
so is it obvious to the user? Is property binding just the same as it always has been? We don't have to change anything to take advantage of this now?
So they have a new APIs available, of course.
Okay.
It's called Signal. So you can, with Angular 16, they are in developer preview. So they're not saying, okay, this is like the final version or this is stable version, but they're in developer preview. Go ahead and use it. In case you get some issues, you can report it back to the team. They will fix it. And that's how in around 17, they will make it stable.
We have similar things. We have a preview features.
Yeah.
You have to opt in. You say -- enable preview. And then I think it's like a year they have, or 3 releases, a year and a half. So if it's in an enable preview today, then it won't be a GA for at least 18 months.
Right? No. So in Angular, it's 6 months.
Okay, great.
So now it's in developer preview. Next version, it will be stable version. So now you don't have to think about change action strategies and all those things. You can remove zone.js, let's say, not in the older application.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're listening, just don't kick out zone.js, otherwise your application will break.
Right.
But what you can do is once you move on to this new Signals APIs, you can actually disable zone.js. But you still have the advantage that the new code can be written using Signals. So you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait till it becomes stable. You can start writing your code. Angular has your back. If you get some issues, of course, Angular will go ahead and fix it. So this is one of the most talked feature which landed in Angular 16.
Okay, and you're saying it's huge speed ups for large or medium to large applications.
Exactly. Yeah.
But do I need to? I don't really. If I'm starting a new project today, I can just write code with that today.
Exactly.
It's not more painful to use than the old approach, right? And it also has benefits. It pays dividends at scale.
Exactly.
Okay. That's a cool feature, right? One that doesn't cost me any cognitive load today and pays dividends when I'm in production at scale tomorrow, Nice. I like that a lot. Okay. What is hydration? I know what dehydration is.
So it's a very complicated feature. I mean, so
wait, this is more complicated? I don't know if I can. My brain.
So the way SSR works today in Angular is a little bit complicated. There are frameworks like Quick.
Server-side rendering.
Yeah, server-side rendering.
Okay.
So there is a framework called Quick, which is again created by the creator of Angular,
right?
Mishko Havvi.
Right.
And he, this concept is actually something which was already done within Google, closed source framework. It's not open source.
Right.
So Mishko actually took this idea and then he created Quick on top of it, where you can actually, there are few more things which you can do with Quick. For example, you can have 0 KB JS. Once you serve a page, it's without JavaScript and it works.
Wow.
and there are like interactions which will be loaded on demand. So if I click a button, I will just get the code for the button, not for everything else. So that's very advanced thing anyways. But in Angular, SSR has been there for years,
Right.
but it's not that popular. I mean, if you see the more popular SSR front end frameworks, you have Next.js.
Right.
So Next.js is SSR, SSG, whatever you want to do with
Right.
that. Then you have a Next as well in Vue.
Next. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but Angular had some disadvantage, of course. The community has been asking this feature for a long time. I mean, the time when actually they introduced SSR, basically. So the way Angular works or the SSR works today is, of course, when you request something, it's server-side rendered page, right?
Right.
So server will send you some data, not some data, but some view, and then once client takes over, it will destroy the entire view. So it's called it's called non-destructive hydration.
Okay.
So it actually destructive hydration. So it actually destroys everything, re-renders everything on the front end.
But does the client see a blip on the screen?
Exactly. A lot of
they see like a flash.
Flash. Yeah.
Oh.
So you can actually still, if you have some SSR Angular application, you can see that.
Okay.
There will be probably not many cases, but sometimes you can see, okay, it is being like repainted again and again. So that was a problem. And now Angular did a survey last year.
Okay.
Angular team. And then, of course, SSR again came up as one of the top requested feature. We need better SSR support. And then they introduced some. They are actually improving. They're not still like 100%. They of course, it's a small team, right? At the end. So they are trying to bring on those features, the partial hydration feature. So now they introduce a new API. I think some hydration API which you can enable on the front end, and it's a single function. Actually, it's a single function, and then you get a huge boost in case you are using SSR. So it's not like you have to redo everything, just a function.
You just call one function.
Exactly.
Is it you just call it once per app?
Yeah. And then the last data they shared, it was like they improved these first contentful page by 45%. I mean FCP, right? You call it as FCP.
What is that?
First contentful page.
So the time to first byte, basically.
Yeah. No, that's different. The first contentful paint is like the first.
Oh, first contentful paint.
Yeah.
So the first the first time the whole page looks like it's
exactly
there.
it's there. So it improved by 45%, but by just calling that function. So yeah. So
you don't have to change your code. Just call one function
exactly.
one time.
Yeah.
It's free win. I love that. Okay.
And they're trying to bring more like optimization like this in SSR. And let's see what I'm because most of the apps I have used personally. I mean, I have worked on some enterprise apps. They don't like prioritize SSR because they are internal tools.
Right.
No one needs SEO, right?
Right.
And they are like used within the organization. They have better internet connection. So, but of course, there are more and more people now working on hobby projects.
Yeah, like my Webpack. See, this might be an interesting thing for me to try. I want to figure out how to get my little joshlong.com to be SEO-able.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted functionality, and it definitely is functional now, but it's a fully dynamic thing, you know?
Yeah. Yes, I mean, of course, you can. You're on Vue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use Next. Why not?
Well, I guess. See, I don't even know how to do that. Do I have to like have back-end infrastructure to do this?
I don't think so.
I mean, just client-side JavaScript.
I mean, at the end, of course, it will just render the pages as a static pages, right? SSG does that.
Okay.
So server-side generation, where you actually generate all the pages are like generated at build time,
right?
And then you just get the data. And you can call your APIs as well. So they have SSR support as well. So if you have like backend, some Java backend which you have deployed and you want to get the data, you can do that.
Ow, my head. Okay, that's another.
Literally one import.
Literally one import. That's I'm all about the more for less doctrine. You know. Okay, so this is all really. Is there anything? I mean, this is huge, like huge opportunities, especially for me. When my experience of the thing was still Angular 1 and some 2. You know, like it sounds like the whole world is bigger and better now.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's the sort of like, first of all, I don't know, what is the state of Angular deployments and usage and uptake and whatever? Like, what are there banner use cases out there that people talk about these days? Like, I'm just generally asking, if I wanted to say, hey, this company X, Y, or Z are using or
Mhm.
Z are using this technology, we should too. Who would I point to?
I mean, there are big organizations. For example, I have seen Caterpillar, Cat
Okay.
INC. They have been
Wow.
using Angular. I know a big startup called ClickUp.
Oh wow.
The entire website is actually Angular.
Okay.
The entire application, not just the website, but the entire application is actually Angular. They have a huge code base. Even at Celonis, we have a huge code base. Like we have a monorepo with like 25 applications within monorepo, and there are more which is going to come into monorepo.
Right.
So we have more than 100K lines of code easily, and that's all Angular.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I mean Cisco has been investing a lot
Right.
in Angular, and they've been hiring as well. I think many Angular developers as well.
And that means something in this economy, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
And even Celonis has been still hiring developers, but at senior level. So of
Sure.
course there is some impact of economy everywhere.
Right. So tell me about what the what is Celonis? Do you want to give a shout out or
Yeah, I mean, so
talk about them?
yeah, so I work for Celonis basically. So Celonis is a company who works on a tool. So it's like process management optimization tool. So
Right.
If you have a process, like every company has a
Right.
process, right? I mean, like procurement, like sales,
Yeah.
and you want to see where you are actually losing money. The Celonis dashboard can give you insights, and you can create your own dashboards by using widgets we have. So it's not like fixed data which you will see, but you
Right.
can actually also create your own workflows. So if you want to create a workflow, let's say if my total loss goes beyond 10,000
Right.
or $10,000, so
Right.
give me an alert that where I'm losing the money.
Wow.
Or if I have to raise an invoice at the end of the month, just let me create a widget for or workflow for that. So all those things can be actually easily done with
And automated.
Automated, yeah.
Oh wow. So how do you spell that?
It's CELONIS.
Okay. CELONIS.
LONIS.
Okay.
And it's something which you can try for free.
Okay. Where do people go for that? CELONIS.com.
Yeah. And they have a product which gives you there's a link which you can try. You can create your dump your own data, and then you can get some insights out of it.
That's amazing. Okay. Back to the thing. Is there any interaction support in hydration process like server-side HTML might have some button event? Does it work? I don't understand the question, but I'm sure that means something to you.
Server-side HTML that have some button event, does it work? I mean, so if I'm not wrong, that's something which they have unlocked with this new feature.
Nice.
I mean, you have to try it out. I mean, because as I said, like most of the applications which I have worked, they never needed SSR. I mean, there's only one app I have done so far that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because as I said, I mean, SSR was not the the feature which every developers will reach out to.
No, it's only if you have the use case, you have the use case.
Exactly.
Is it possible to do SEO on a dynamic website without having server-side rendering?
With Angular?
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I mean, you can reach out to analog. I mean, we were supposed to discuss about it.
So what is analog? Yeah. We
so-
talked about that before the show, and I said no. I liked being ignorant. Let's fix it on the stream. We'll do it live. So here we are. Let's go.
Yeah. So analog is the new meta framework, which is created by creator of NGRX, another framework,
Okay.
a framework, state management framework for Angular. So he's trying to bridge in all this issues, right, which we cannot achieve using Angular. For example, if you see Next, why they are famous, they have something known as file-based routing.
Okay. Yeah.
So Angular has you still need to define all the routes.
Okay.
In case you are creating an application.
I like that though.
Yeah, I mean, you many people do, but when it comes to like blog post, like you are creating your own blog, I would like go to a file folder and create a folder, and I'll be more than happy if it creates a route for me dynamically.
Just everything under that folder gets
exactly.
Okay. Well, you can do that with wildcards though, right?
No, I mean
in Angular, like I can
but
say
you still have to write it
just once.
No, I mean the wildcard is something which people generally use for 404. Like I have to define blog / something.
Okay, like everything under /blog /.
Exactly. So you don't have to do that. So, and with analog, actually, Brandon Roberts is trying to bridge in this gap where now you have file-based routing.
Okay.
And then it also takes care of your SSR, server-side rendering. So it's if you want to go for like a website with Angular, I mean, it has good SEO. Go to analog. He's doing a great job. Shout out to Brandon Roberts. So you can just go on Twitter and then follow him. And he's also trying to you also get SSD features, right? So once you create a folder, put some files, like your blog is deployed. Once you do it on build time, all the files are generated and you can just deploy it anywhere, like Netlify or any server you have.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
and you use that. So that's not specifically Angular. You can use that with anything.
So
it just ties into.
So it's actually very specific to Angular because the code which you write will be Angular, like components you write.
So it is tied to Angular. Okay, never mind.
So it's the components which you create, it's Angular,
Right.
but there is a catch.
Okay.
So there is a new thing called Astro Build, which the other
thing you're going to mention.
So it's again a meta framework. So Astro has like its own component. You can create Astro component, but you can also bring in any component, a React component, a Vue component, and you can bring an Angular component using analog.
Oh.
So analog.
Okay.
So analog actually unlocks you from, because it was not possible before that you can bring your Angular component directly into Astro.
Okay.
But analog unblocked you. So if you want to create an Astro website, which is really cool, and I mean I have my own portfolio using Astro.
Nice.
Santosh Yadav.dev. You can see it's a template which I took from the template which is available at Astro, and now you can actually bring your write code, or you can write an Angular component and you can render it inside Astro. So yeah, it's Santosh Yadav.
Hold. We're awkwardly fighting the URL here. So there we are. Whoop. Good. There you go.
Yeah, and then Astro has like its own file-based routing.
Okay.
So you get everything out of the box. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do any configuration. So if you see this website, I mean, the code I have not like made it available as of now, but I will do it. So it's like a folder where I have all the MDX file or MD file.
Right.
And it becomes my blog.
Oh, that's really amazing.
I write my blog in MDX file or MD file, markdown file.
Do you have to update the website each time, or is it just you have?
So every time I have to publish, I have to of course push my code, or let's say I have to push my MDX file.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it publishes my blog. That's it.
That's so cool. That and that's much cheaper to host, easier to maintain. Just a good deal.
I do it for free, so because I use Netlify.
Right.
So again, shout out to Netlify for hosting my blog for free. So I've been using it, and then they give you like 100 GB of space, or 100 GB of up to 100 GB of space. You don't have to worry about it. It's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, tons.
So blog is like KBs, MBs.
Right. Yeah. I have like thousands of blogs, and I don't think it's just a text. It's probably whatever megabyte. I don't know. Nothing.
Yeah, it will like take years.
Yeah, years and years and years
before. Let's.
Yeah, we got worse problems. I use I'm old. I don't know what I'm doing, so I use the not that old people don't know what they're doing. I'm saying I am both old and I don't know what I'm doing. That's not what I didn't say that. I said there's a contraction there, and also I don't know. Don't at me. It's totally not what I said. Anyway, no, I am an idiot, and so I'm using GitHub Pages, which is static site.
Yeah, you can use GitHub Pages as well.
Seems fine. I don't know, but of course, the restriction. You start putting 5 megabyte files in there, and GitHub starts suggesting use a large file object and all that. It's not really great. Like Netlify having. Did you say G as in gigabytes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty great. Ugh. Okay, yeah. See, that's pretty dope. I'm gonna look into that. I'm at the rate all the way to this. It's been just an incredible tour.
With Netlify, you can just log in, select your repository, and that's it. It's deployed. So you don't have to do anything.
Oh, it's amazing. Okay, people. What do we think? How do we do? Hello, from Madagascar. Yes, hello. Good to see you. Is there anything we should be talking about?
Yeah, I mean, so if we can talk about more new features in Angular.
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah. So Angular 16 now they are also trying to improve the SSR story.
Okay.
In future, and what else we have? So they are going to bring Material Design 3.
Okay. Right.
So right now there is a library called, or you can say, a library which is maintained by Angular team.
Yeah.
Which is called Material Design Angular Components actually.
Right.
Which uses Material Design 2.
Nice.
So now they are trying to like move on to Material Design 3, so they can bring more features which is available with MDC3.
Wow.
So into the framework. So that's something which they are going to work on. Of course, Signals will unblock you, so you can have zoneless application.
Right.
And now standalone components. So someone mentioned, right, standalone components.
Right.
So they became stable in Angular 15. So it was in developer preview in Angular 14. So in Angular 15 they become stable. So Angular is also trying to.
Is that like web components or what is that?
So that's interesting. So Angular, when it was launched, like Angular 4.
Okay.
So not before, even before Angular 4, so Angular 2.3 or something. So they had no modules. So Angular has it's actually something called ng modules,
Right.
which is a wrapper to wrap your all components, directives, right,
Yeah.
pipes.
As a
So
reusable package.
yeah, exactly. So it package everything. But over the years, like due to misuse, I would say, like so it became a bottleneck because people used to put so much into a module, and once they reuse it, they get a large code base, like large bundle size.
Right.
I mean, of course, because if you bundle everything into a module and then you use that module somewhere else, whole code is going to be there, right? So it started becoming a bottleneck, and then people started asking that we should drop modules, right? So we should be able to just directly use component to avoid this issue, and then I don't have to worry about all these things.
Yeah.
So, but Angular was like blocked because of the way the compiler was.
Right.
And then they did a huge rewrite of the compiler.
Wow.
So they took. So if there are any Angular developers, they know that there was a huge work which was done for Ivy, the new compiler engine or the new rendering engine, and it took years. But that rewriting actually unblocked from so many amazing things which actually Angular team is doing right now. And that's one of them is a standalone component. So I don't have to now define modules. They are optional.
I can just have a component as a reusable element, as a unit.
Yeah, and then I can use it anywhere. And same with directives pipes. So I can have standalone pipes. I can have standalone directives. I can use it wherever I want. What's a
pipe?
So pipe is like what you can say. It's generally we use it for transformation. So if you want to transform some data, we generally go for pipes in Angular. So let's say if I have a template, right? So I have a date of birth field, and now I want to show that date of birth in a different format. So I'm transforming the data.
Okay.
So that is something which you can do using
data in, but transform and then render some other way. Neat. Okay. But yes.
There is a catch. There's a catch. With Signals, you can actually stop writing pipes.
Okay.
Because Signals has something called computed property.
Right.
Or computed function. So you can like a component which has another property, which is computed property.
Right.
Which can do anything for you. You can actually write a transformer, for example.
Right. Okay.
And then Signals, as we mentioned, it's like brings that granular level change direction. So it only changes once the data is changed. So it's not like it will keep checking that, okay, so if something has changed, it will say, okay, if data is changed, I know that it has changed because there is what you can say now is your template and your Signals, right?
Right.
They have like a contract between them.
Right.
So whenever this changes, the template will change, and something changes, Signals will change, and it will be at the component level. So I'm not saying about like in past we used to re-render everything. No.
Right.
At the template level.
Right. I understand. Okay.
So that's the cool stuff.
Super cool. We have questions here, friends. What is Angular? Does Angular incorporate any additional layers of security? What is that? So what does that refer?
I mean, so Angular is actually secure by default. If you see, Angular has a lot of checks already. For example, you cannot inject a script, right? I mean, that's script injection, which we generally do. You cannot just directly do it. You have to actually use the safe APIs, which actually Angular provides, and then you have to use them. They also have content security policies enabled by default.
Right.
And now with Angular 16, actually, you can define your own content security policies, because this is one of the feature which was needed by a lot of corporations because they wanted to define their own policies. And that's something which is possible now with Angular 16. So yeah, you do have security. I mean, yes, Angular is secure by default, as I said.
And backwards compatible. My friend, this has been, well, I mean, it's been great, but also a lot, very overwhelming for my my simple brain. But so where do people go to get started? I mean, what's the like easy on ramp to building? If I wanted to build a new website, like say, I don't know, joshlang.com, what would I be? Where would I go right now?
Yeah, so you can actually just download the Angular CLI, just
Okay.
do ng new,
Okay.
and create your application, and then get started. And you, on top of it, you can just start writing your code.
And do you, okay, another question. Do you use VS Code or Sublime or WebStorm, or what do you use?
So I was always a Visual Studio fan
Okay.
because I was a .NET developer before.
Right.
And then when I moved into this front end world, I started using VS Code because of
Yeah,
the liking I
right.
had. And then it's so cool. I mean, I just still use VS Code.
Okay, so that works for you. That works for
Yeah.
me. I don't know. I feel like we did a lot. This is good.
I mean,
It's an
ah,
amazing,
close to an hour.
basically an hour, and that means it's officially time for us to go explore Athens.
Yeah.
People over here, I'm sure, are going to be, you know, they're sad for us. We can't keep talking about software, but okay, it's a sacrifice that you and I have to make.
Yeah.
We have to go explore this beautiful city by the
Yeah.
Mediterranean
And then
with perfect weather,
yeah,
and the sun literally just beamed through the clouds and broke through the clouds and bursting in through the window right now. You can't see it over here, people. It's beautiful. I mean, it's
True.
almost as beautiful as Angular. Just beautiful in and out. So, friends, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks,
everyone.
buddy. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much, Josh.
See you around.
Yeah, bye bye.